what's in the box today. Well, this is a little clue as to what we're going to be doing, shell reading. But I'm going to show you how I do a shell reading, and then you can make up your mind whether you want to do one yourself. So here's my shells that I have. Yeah, I love the feel of these. I keep my shells in this large shell, and I usually have my crystal ball in there as well, and it sits in there, and they all get along very, very nicely. So each shell has a purpose and a meaning to it. If you think that millions of years ago, mollusks lived in shells, so each shell has a little story because it's had a life in it, so therefore it has an energy, and it has an energy as to where it originated and where it eventually settled, because things will move. So here I have, and I keep these separate, these are my Gibraltar shells. I've got a little label on it to say they are from Gibraltar, and then my little special ones, they have special meaning to me, so I only use those on certain occasions, and I'm the only one that touches those, whereas these are, I like my clients to be able to choose these. So what I do is I get all of the shells out, so pouring them all on the table. Don't you just love that? Just look at that. Isn't that a beautiful envelope? Absolutely gorgeous. That in itself has its own story. So while I'm just arranging these, I'll tell you about what I do. So every shell, it's a bit like reading runestones, really. Every shell has a different shape. Every shell has a different feel to it. Every shell has a different story to tell because of where it came from, and you know who's picked it up, even who's collected it. A lot of these shells I've actually collected from Spain. When we were on our spiritual retreats in Spain, I've collected shells from there, although I have got some from British shores and also from Wales. I've got a couple, I think, that came from Ireland, but they're all mixed up now, so I couldn't tell you which ones they are. What is interesting, I've noticed I've got a couple of pebbles in here, which I haven't realised, and I've got some fossils as well. So that's one of my little fossils that I've got there. So I'll show you how these are laid out. So I've left a little bit of a mess on the table, so if I do that, you can see that they're all laid out all over the table here. So some are purposely left upright, some I've left, even these broken shells I've left in because they have a story to tell as well. So let's just say I'm doing a reading for a client. I'd get the client to choose which one they're drawn to. I usually start off with 3 and then ask them to choose another 2, so we'd end up with 5, maybe 6, it depends. So it could even be one of these gorgeous big shells that they connect to. So let's just say we've chosen 3 shells, so we're going to choose that one, and we're going to choose, I'm just going to put my hand over the top and just see what I'm drawn to, what's saying pick me, pick me. Okay, let's go with that one, and oh well, that one, and I'm going to leave it like it is. So that one is sort of on its back there, so I'm going to leave that one as it is. Just going to move all of these up there, and now I'm going to pick another 2. So the 2 I'm going to pick are that's quite a beautiful one. So I'm going to do that one because of what this is already telling me. And we have a broken one here as well. So I'm going to choose that. So I'm not going to choose those great big ones. I'm going to choose these. So, okay, so let's put this as that one and that one, that one. And I'm going to just put the other two separate here. Right, I'm going to put this back up now. So as I'm connecting with this particular shell, it reminds me of a unicorn. Straight away, I'm connecting with a unicorn. Now, there are two of these. Actually, there's not. There's 3, 4, and there's some tiny ones. So there's a tiny one there, here, and there's one that's much bigger there. But this is the one that I was drawn to. So let's just say this, the client has chosen this particular one. That links me straight away to a potential psychic ability, because the unicorn, to me personally, is the horse with the psychic eye. So I've got the qualities of horse and I've got the qualities of the unicorn combined. So horses to me is strength, freedom, and that psychic ability. So this to me is all about allowing yourself to develop that natural psychic ability, and this is where we are in life right now. So that's what that one means to me. So that's what I would be telling my client. It's obviously a lot more to it when I'm doing a reading for someone, because I would also work clairvoyantly with this. So I'd ask my spirit guides to bring loved ones in from spirit to add to what I'm saying. So what do they want to tell me as well? But this is purely and simply with the shells right now. So this is the second one. And this is a really interesting one, because this one feels, I'm going with how it feels, this one. It feels a little bit rough here. So I think that person is probably going through a little bit of a rough patch right now. And because the first one is a psychic ability, maybe they're a little bit unsure about what direction to go in spiritually. So how can they spiritually develop? But this one now reminds me of the pyramids. So, and not just the pyramids to do with Egypt, but pyramids, the pyramid shape, and that feeling of that ancient knowledge that we can tap into. So this one is definitely someone who's on a spiritual journey, who is finding it a little bit difficult because they're not quite grasping it yet, and it's probably a lot of information all coming in at once here. But this is definitely, like, it's like the spiral. It goes round and round and round. You see this pattern here goes right the way around there. And I'm seeing with this maybe an Inca sort of feel to this. Maybe it's a spirit guide who is was an Inca or Aztec, or that sort of feel to this, and coming forward to help with that spiritual development. I also see the pyramid as an amplification of knowledge. That's what it always means to me when I do a meditation and go into a pyramid in a meditation. I always feel that everything is amplified much more. I know that we did some experiments with pyramids and went into like a pyramid structure, and you can really feel the energy different when you stood outside the pyramid structure to when you're inside. It's sort of an amplification of energy. So that's what I'm seeing with those two. Now this one here is the one that's lying on its back, and I'm feeling that now in the palm of my hand. And this one is really, really smooth on the inside here. It's actually quite a lovely sort of design on it here, lovely feel to it. It's like it's flowing. However, it is misshapen. So I'm seeing a particular purpose for this. I'm seeing almost like this is a vessel now for knowledge. I'm seeing this dreams now, dream state. So this is someone who's having a lot of dreams, who's maybe not particularly making sense of the dreams. They're a bit random, but I would advise in that instance to, you know, maybe keep a dream diary so that you can try and make sense out of why you're dreaming the things that you are dreaming, you know. So because I'm seeing it like that, I'm seeing it, as I say, as a vessel for something. And so I suppose that connects to like the cups in the tarot deck, you know, when they represent emotions and relationships. That's what I'm seeing with here. So it can even be your relationship with yourself on this spiritual journey. It can be relationship with others. So you could be now connecting with like-minded people who are sort of, they think like you do, and they're able to understand you. And it's like you're meant to be with these people. Like if you'd have met them years ago, it probably wouldn't have worked, but right now this is the time for connecting. So that's what I'm seeing with that one, and I'm doing that simply because of how it's lying like that. Obviously you need to have your own interpretation, get to know all of your different shells and what they feel like to you. And when you're working with a client, of course, you've got your client's energy there as well. So you're tuning into their energy because it's specific to them. For this purpose, obviously, we're just putting the generalized feeling of what it means to me. So they're the three that I put together. Now, I also wanted to pick another two. And this one I really liked because I thought it was really pretty. So it's a very, very sort of pretty looking shell. But this is the area that I was drawn to. And it reminds me of an ear. The actual shape of it reminds me of an ear. And a very British saying, in your shell like, which means in your ear, comes to mind. So this one is about listening skills. That's how I'm seeing this. This is about listening skills and being able to understand the things that are being given to you, probably by spirit or on your spiritual journey, why you're getting the messages that you are. I'm also seeing this as a timing thing, when to speak and when not to speak, or when to listen, because some people don't even listen. They go, yeah, oh yeah, I get you, yeah, but they've not really heard a word you've said, you know. So this one is about listening skills, because we can hear sometimes a lot. We can gain more knowledge by listening and hearing to what is not said rather than what is said. So needed to think about that just for a minute. So I'm now being drawn to the actual shapes of this. So this has got like, it's almost got like stripes down it here. And I'm now seeing it as a drum-like structure. So of course we're still with the ear and the ear drum, but I'm seeing it as a drum-like structure, and someone who is maybe going into shamanism, you know, maybe wanting to follow a shamanic route as part of their spiritual journey. That's what I'm seeing with this, because the drums always connect me with the shamans. And the last one here is the one that was, it's broken. It's got this broken little part of it here, but it's actually quite a beautiful shell, and I'm wanting to smooth it down. So I'm seeing this as healing, because that has been broken. So therefore it tells a story. Does it need to be mended, or does it need to be learned from? either way, it's a healing energy. So this is now someone who is maybe going down the shamanic healing route. So not only going with the psychic ability here that's happening, and this ancient knowledge of information that's coming in, this trying to get this emotional balance right, and an understanding of spiritual knowledge, and get the balance right between home life and spiritual life, work and everything else. And then this one, the listening skills, about what to listen to, what to discard, when to speak, when to not speak, and that shamanic a feel to this, going on that route. And then finally that healing one, which is like, that's what I'm seeing with this, that healing energy here. So those 5 shells tell me a story, but because they're separated, the 3 first and then the 2, they are telling me that one thing needs to come before the other. It's like, we're doing this now, but this is coming in for you. So it is sort of like past and present, and then going into the future as well. And you could go on picking different stones. I mean, look at all these gorgeous stones, and here there's a lovely stone there that can tell its own story there. It picked alongside these lovely little shells, and the tiny little shell there, very, very tiny one that sort of glistens at you, and you can actually see right through that shell. So, you know, is that one someone you can see through? You know, you need to be able to see through someone. What about, let's go with one of these little tiny ones here. These little tiny ones, but look how banded this is, you know. So this is someone just starting out on a new journey. Oops, obviously they've not fallen from grace, but it's starting out on a new journey. And that is quite rough, that one. It's not got a lovely smooth feel like these have got quite a smooth feel to them. This is quite rough. So it's at the very beginning of a journey, but this could also be at the beginning of you know, a new job or something like that. And you know, I'm at the moment I'm compelled to sort of do this thing with it, and it's quite mesmerizing when you look at it. I'm seeing this now as a helter-skelter, and also with this, it's like, you know, the helter-skelter would come right down. So somebody who is at the start of something new, and it's actually gathering quite a lot of pace with it. I see grounding skills with that as well, because of the colours that are involved in that. So somebody maybe who's quite grounded. This is a completely different one, same sort of shape, but a completely different colour and a different feel. These have sort of like nodules on them all the way round that you can feel, and again in spirals there. So I'm seeing with this, maybe moving, maybe things are too repetitive and wanting things to move around a little bit. This is quite an unusual one, because this one is, it's like this one, it's got the little nodules on. However, this one is quite pronounced, and I'm seeing again the spirally pattern in that one, and that feel of, you know, going round and round in circles a little bit here with this, and looking for a way out. So as I turn it over, there's the way out here. Then we move on to, that's another one that's the same. It's the same. It's a little bit clearer, that one, but that's got a little chipped bit off it as well. So, you know, you can read something into all of these depending on what the subject is. This is quite a nice one. It's a greeny coloured one, and to me straight away this is very artistic. I'm seeing this as creative, somebody who is maybe wanting to do go into a creative field of some kind. That's what I'm seeing with that. I'm also seeing with it someone who likes to be outdoors a lot. So maybe somebody who wants to be creative in the garden, or set up a gardening business, or it could be artistic, of course. Let's go to one of the big boys. So here we have one of the biggies here. I'll just put this up like that, and then you can see the inside of that. Isn't that beautiful? Look how gorgeous that is inside. So with this one, I'm feeling this. This one feels, it's rough on the outside, but it feels really, really smooth on the inside. And I think that's like a protection here. So this is someone, if someone was to pick this one up, it's like someone who's quite a softy inside, but they put on this hard exterior, you know. They're not quite not quite as hard as they are portraying themselves to be. There is a softness to them. We just have to find out where that softness is. Also, as I'm looking at it into it now, whether you can see it in there, but I'm seeing shapes on the inside of it. So what I'm seeing is it's almost like a rib cage, because I'm seeing these patterns that are on the outside, but I'm seeing it through the inside. But it's reminding me of a rib cage. So this is like a protection thing. It's protection for the heart. So this is someone who is very, even though they've got this hard exterior, they're a softy inside, and sometimes they let the heart rule the head, you know. That's how it feels to me. And you know, they don't want to get hurt. They've been hurt in the past. They don't want to get hurt, but sometimes they do that. They let the heart rule the head. So I could go on and on about what you're seeing in these particular shows, including the master of all of them. Look at that, those beautiful iridescent colours in that. Now I use this rather like I use a crystal ball. I look at all the colours in it and I connect with the colours, and then I start to see shapes. So if I do that, can you see right at the very bottom how the shapes are appearing there? I'm seeing this as a journey, someone who's going on a spiritual journey, or wanting to start something new. It's quite exciting though, because if I do that, it's like an exciting sort of feel to that. And then we've got at the back here, we've got all of this beautiful blue energy there, and it's just catching that purple as well. So I'm reading this one like I would read a crystal ball, but I'm also using it like I would do a tea leaf reading. So it's what do I see right up at the top here? That is sort of coming in. It's here, it's now. And what do I see right down at the bottom here? That's what's coming in. So there's different ways you can read things, and you have to find your own way of doing that. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I want you to go out, and if you're not near to a beach and you can't get any shells, you can buy shells, but I think it's always better if you collect your own, because you're choosing the ones that you're going to work with. But you can do it with pebbles as well. Like I say, I've got 1 or 2 pebbles here in my collection. I've got a lot more as well that I use. There's another one that I use, and it's how does it feel? How does it look? What does it say to you? So if you're doing a reading for yourself, I would close your eyes and put your hand over and see which one you're drawn to, what the energy is like if you're doing it for yourself. If you're doing it for someone else, get them to choose them. Okay, that's me for now. I'll love you and leave you. Bye.